Okay, so as you can see, I am loaded into Microsoft Flight Sim VR. This is what it looks like before you get in an actual flight. So we're gonna do a little general aviation flight here, and I'm gonna talk about some of the issues I've had, the thoughts I have already, and we'll go through this and just, we're just gonna see how it goes, basically. Okay, so here we are in the Cessna 152. Now, straight off the bat, it is impressive how 3D this feels. Maybe I should have picked a 172 since I've flown one of those, but you know, for all intents and purposes, it's relatively similar. Here I have the little pointer. Hopefully you guys can see that. I don't know what's rendering and what's not. Also, another thing I wanted to mention was I know nothing about VR, so take everything with a grain of salt. But if you want to point on stuff, like, you can also use your mouse. So you can use your mouse or you can use the little pointer thing, whatever your preference is. See what X-Cheer looks like. Okay, so X-Cheer is just like you're back here and you can look around. That's kind of interesting. But yes, this is the Pimax Crystal Light, and Pimax sent this to me. This is not a sponsored video, but they did send it to me, so shout out to them. Now, let's throttle up here. Like, look at, I know obviously we've tried the Tobii eye tracker and stuff, but like, look. Like, I can just look outside. Like, it's really, and I'm just saying this over and over because I know you guys, let's get some flaps here. Because I know you guys can't see it how I'm seeing. It feels like you're actually, it's like impressive how much it feels like you're in real life here. There's 50 knots. Here we go. Rotating. Yeah, baby. It really does feel like you're, oh. So a little bit, when you move your head, already, I'm not like nauseous, but it feels like a little roller coastery. And I don't really get, like, look how cool that is. I don't really get, you know, car sick or anything of that nature. So that's interesting. We will get to fighters eventually because I want to see what a HUD looks like and doing crazy stuff in mountains and things like that. Like, look at this. It's very natural to like where you're looking, much more natural than the Tobii eye tracker we tried, which is a positive thing, of course. But like this, for sightseeing and stuff, this is actually phenomenal. Okay, now for the bad, we're going good, bad, and ugly here, guys. For the bad, if you weren't aware, for VR, we'll do a little flyover of the airport. For VR, you need to plug it, at least this one, the Pimax Crystal Light, into one of the like display port inputs on your graphics card, right? Obviously, this takes a lot to run, so it has to be plugged in directly to your graphics card. Your graphics card can only output X amount of pixels. Do I know what that number is? I have no clue. But in this case, I had to unplug, get this, guys. Look at this plane spawning in. All of my monitors except one to get it to work. So I have, for reference, my monitor right in front of me is 4K, and then the other two are 1080. I have them for chat and whatever else. But I use, especially for streaming, you essentially need two monitors or you won't be able to see anything else. So I had to unplug every monitor except one, and then what I did to overcome that so I wasn't stuck with only one monitor was I plugged my vertical monitor, which is to my right, into my motherboard, so it's using integrated graphics to power that. Now that is a massive downside because for me, there is no way I'm gonna unplug my monitors. Let's see if we can do a landing here. I'm gonna oh, I got a little bit of, woo, like almost like dizziness there for a second. There's no way I'm gonna unplug my monitors every time I'm trying to play, and running the right one on integrated graphics obviously isn't ideal. So I'm gonna tell you right off the bat, for me, this will be a once in a very, let's see how this landing is. Oh my goodness. That was smooth, I won't lie. This will be a once in a very rare blue moon occurrence for me, although it is a very cool experience. Very nice. Okay, first landing ever, and it felt really good. Okay, so I have loaded in here at Saba, outside of the plane, just to get an idea. And it's a little bit weird, right? Because I can look around with my head, of course, but then moving your body is a little bit strange. And I don't know what, like, so there's that. I can't look up like I would normally with the right mouse button, like hold it and look around. This is cool though. Obviously this plane is pretty low fidelity, but getting up close with stuff and just being able to look around, especially the scenery, like look up there. Saba, This probably looks awful for you guys, but you just gotta trust me that it looks pretty freaking cool for me. Let's change the time of day real quick, and then we'll move on to actually flying again. Oh yeah, this is gonna look nice. Oh my gosh. This is so, I'm gonna go to the beach off stream and you could just chill at the beach in this. Oh, so, okay, here we go. So if I'm looking straight or walking straight, if I look right, we just start walking right. That's kind of interesting, even when I'm just holding W. There you go. The first person view works, obviously, but it's a little bit unintuitive in VR, I'd say. So this is just at a random point in the video. This actually happened after I stopped recording, but I didn't notice. So we were in the 737 and something similar happened. There was like a heads-up display thing with like weird text on it, and then now we just got in the longitude, and this is what I'm seeing. If anyone has any idea what this is, it appears to be some kind of bug, please leave a comment because this is interesting to say the least. Okay, so for our next little journey, I've loaded in here in the F-15. Now, another thing I did want to mention, the edges of the view that I have are noticeably blurrier than the center, and I looked it up and that's somewhat normal. I think some headsets have that problem more than others. Also, my field of view is not super wide. It's very obvious where the black borders are. I know I'm pointing when it's not really like that. It's very obvious where the black borders are from my perspective. Like I was saying, I don't know anything about VR in general. This is my first time using it. A lot of what I say is probably like, duh, or like, you're an idiot, you're doing something wrong. So if you're watching, please leave comments of what I'm doing wrong, because no doubt I'm doing stuff wrong. But like I said, we're at Area 51. You know what? We're gonna, how do I get, oh, there we go. Okay, let's change it to a cooler time of day. We're gonna head down to Vegas, and I'm gonna talk a little bit about that monitor thing that let's do live weather. Hopefully there's some clouds or something. A little bit about that monitor thing that I was telling you guys earlier. Okay, here we go. So also, my HUD on the jet is a little bit more duplicated than real life. Do you know, like, if you look at something close, you'll kind of see double? It's kind of like that, but maybe a little more intense than real life. Here we are off the ground. Looking outside the window, there's our intake, there's our wing. This is cool. Let's bank. Now, this is gonna be an interesting test of if I get sick from this. I think one thing that's important to know is your perception of where you are is so much better. Like, I think, oh, don't black out. Yeah, your perception of how high you are, where you are in space, all of that is better than with an eye tracker or with whatever. Now, oh, I just got a little bit dizzy doing that. I don't know why. I don't get like I don't feel sick or anything, but like I will feel a little like doing stuff like that, especially if you look outside like that and do it, you do get a little interesting feeling. Like, but this is quite the experience doing stuff. Oh my gosh. I'm like leaning in real life because of it. But like I was saying, the monitor thing is my biggest gripe, because if I'm limited to only having one monitor plugged in, the odds of me using it are almost zero. And that's just reality. I'm sorry to break it to you. If you only do flight sim stuff on your PC and you think you'll be exclusively using VR, then absolutely go for it. Now, I did plug this into my other PC, which is behind me on my sim racing rig, and that PC only has two 1440p monitors plugged in, and it worked. This PC, even with a 4090, which is crazy, can only have one 4K monitor plugged in. Not one 4K and one 1080, just one 4K. So also depends on what resolutions you're running, but that's definitely something to note for sure. Let's get some altitude here. I wanna see what it's like being high up. We're already at 26,000. We get a little more altitude and see what we're feeling. Like, look at this. Like, that is cool. That is freaking cool. But yeah, the perspective and the experience is second to none as far as immersiveness. Now, I also did want to talk about comfort. Now, I feel like I need a counterweight, kind of like you do with nods, and I'm sure people do that, but I really can't imagine, and I know a lot of VR people are probably gonna disagree with me. And this is a relatively big headset, so this may not apply to everything. I really couldn't imagine doing this for maybe more than an hour. Like, I can already feel, and it's not hot in here. I think the AC is set on 69. I can already feel okay, that view is cool. Just being able to look around. I can already feel my face sweating underneath the headset, which obviously is not fun. But yeah, let's get down and let's try this landing. There's Nellis over there. If you can't tell, we have arrived in Vegas. Now let's see what it's like upside down. There's Vegas from 30,000 feet upside down in an F-15. And like I started to say earlier, but I forgot. It feels like, and I think it's separate. I want to say it's separate graphic settings. Someone correct me. Either my perception and the detail I can see is higher because of the headset, and so it's more noticeable that the graphics are like at distance aren't loaded in, or when you're flying low they aren't quite as good. But it does feel like, and it is harder to run, so that's a factor. It does feel like it's struggling a little bit. There's the sphere. Let's go fly down through the strip. Then we'll land at Nellis, and I'll give some thoughts. Here's the Vegas sphere glitching out a little bit with the smiley face. Oh, he has 2 sets of eyeballs right now. That is cool. Let's go fly between some of these buildings as well. I don't want to black out, so I got to be careful. Here's the Luxor. We're at idle throttle as well. We're still just booking it. There's the stadium. Superstars. There's Delano and Mandalay Bay. Like, this is really where you get, I think, the most out of it. This low-level flying between buildings or all that kind of stuff, and then obviously landing. Like, look at that. You just look up. Obviously, you can do this with head tracking or eye tracking or whatever, but you're still having to look at the monitor that's in front of you for that. So turning your head as far won't, yeah, it will cut it out of your vision to some extent. Okay, let's go through all this. We'll go up to downtown, and we will find Nellis, or attempt to at least. Yeah, like you can see these buildings, the textures on the buildings loading in as we go. There's the mini Eiffel Tower. I've been on that thing, the big Ferris wheel looking thing. Like, look, you can just place yourself where you want. Like, you really feel like your perception of how close you are is so, like, look, I can get really close to that building. Okay, let's do an aggressive climb here. Oh yeah, look at the vapor. Oh my gosh. So here is here's Nellis. Get our speed brake out, slow this thing down, and see how our F-15 landing is. Yeah, in places like this where you have a really long view distance, it is pretty epic. Okay, slow down, slow down, slow down. If you get under 200, I'll put these this gear out. Look at that, dude. Like, look in the cockpit. I'll try to get close. I can't really get that close for you. But I don't know why, it feels like the cockpit has more like detail than it does otherwise. I don't know, I really don't know why I'm getting that perception. Obviously it's the same cockpit, it's the same plane as if you're playing in VR or not. Slow down, slow down, slow down. A little high here. Definitely takes some getting used to. Let's see. My perception of how high we were off the ground was a little bit off there. Come to a stop. Like, look at that. Look at even looking at the shadow outside the plane. And look at the speed brake in the shadow. That is freaking cool. So for final thoughts, the experience is insane. The experience is better than I thought it would be. The 3D-ness, all that, which obviously you guys can't see. The setup's a pain. Will I be using it a lot? No. Will I be using it for driving simulators? Probably, because I use that PC for a lot less and it works with the two 1440p monitors, but it's definitely a cool experience. Shout out to Pimax for sending me this headset. Again, this video is not sponsored. I just said, can I have a headset? I want to do flight sim in VR, and they were like, yeah. Shout out to Pimax, and thank you for watching.